Okay, we recorded. Thank you, Shunya, for reminding me. And he has another task that he's doing. Shunya was a former director at the San Francisco Center, the Master Sha San Francisco Center, and he's still part of the center because he does a lot of the things as a director of the foundation for the center. But what I wanted to share today that Sarah and I'm a master teacher, certified master teacher of the Tao Academy too. We are not professionals versed in the topic of today, which is domestic violence. But we do have the heart to listen and to find out what were the things that helped someone who faced that issue go forward on her physical, her emotional, her mental, and her spiritual journey. And so that's what we would like to share with you today and emphasize that there are professional organizations that are well versed and can help anyone with this situation. And we'll put some of those resources up that we found in the chat box. And this is a serious topic. And it may then trigger emotions within you. Mental, emotional, physical, and even spiritual triggers that may come up for you. And if anyone at any time throughout this talk feels that, experiences that, let us know. You can private message Sarah or myself, Diane Fujio. I don't even know if I said my name, Diane Fujio. You can private message us and we will get back to you. Yeah, we will help you. We are trained to help people in this area of spiritual healing, spiritual practices, and we can do that for you. And if we cannot help you, then we can also make sure that you get the professional resources that you need and refer you to a professional. So if you go through any of that during this talk, please let us know. We're here for you, and together we can bring the light on domestic violence. So let us now start from that place where we always start in all of our love, peace, harmony sessions. Let us connect. Let's set our intention for this session. So everyone, please sit up straight. Put your feet flat on Mother Earth, back away from the chair, head erect. So like there's a string pulling you up to heaven, your feet connect to Mother Earth. And if you're fatigued, if you're going through any health challenges and you need to be lying down, then you lie down and do everything silently. Close your eyes. Connect inside of you. Look inside and see a beautiful light ball within you. Golden, radiant light within you. Connect to that light. Those are all the positive messages that you've ever held. And that's radiating within you. So, dear, all the positivity within me, whether I received some permanent message, blessings, or just my own self-discovery, I really love you. Please radiate within me and let me continue to grow all the wonderful positivity within me. Thank you. And now we'll connect to the outer souls. Dear Divine, dear the Source, dear the message of love, peace, and harmony, the positive frequency and vibration of greatest love, forgiveness, compassion, and light. We love you, we appreciate you, we thank you. Please help us today receive the highest message that's most appropriate for each one of us. Let it open our hearts and let us receive it in our hearts and hold it in our hearts. Let us be processed in our minds to create a new consciousness. And let it permeate our energy and our bodies, our matter. And be in the presence the whole time of this positive message of love, peace, and harmony. We are so grateful and thankful. And if you want to ask for any special request, you can, to whoever your source, your creator is for you, or invite a special saint or angel or Buddha that you have a personal relationship with and ask them to come. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now we're ready to greet our guest. Our guest today is Cenly Wong. She is a teacher of special education and regular mainstream students in a high school in West Brisbane in Queensland, Australia. She has a very unique upbringing because she was born in Malaysia and grew up in Auckland, New Zealand, and has been living in Brisbane all this time for 25 years. She truly believes in personal wellness in every aspect of the way because I looked at her list of accomplishments. She has a long list of healing modalities that she's personally vested in. Like she is studied medical science, technology, technical biochemist. She's a clinical biochemist, and she has studied even yoga. She's a nidra facilitator of yoga. She's also what we call a Tao hands practitioner, a Tao song practitioner, a love, peace, harmony ambassador, someone who shares the message and actually leads others to learn about love, peace, harmony. And she's recently a Guan Yin lineage holder, which is a special recognition for her service and compassion. She's now happily married and she has two amazing sons. I think she has four. Four, that's right. Four amazing children. And so I welcome her. You know, she grew up in a household, her parents studied traditional Chinese medicine. So she has a wide background of science, traditional Chinese medicine, education, and so much more. So welcome, Cenly.
Hello, everyone. Hi, all the way from Brisbane, Australia. So, before I begin my story, I would just like to point out domestic violence can occur to anyone. Either you are born in the family of domestic violence, or it can happen during later stage of your life. So, this is my story. I was with my previous husband for 10 years. We met when I was still at uni and he was working. We met through a group of friends. Initially, there weren't any signs, obviously. It's not until we got married and then they were starting to have some physical gestures. If anyone get triggered by this, I apologize. So he would knock my head whenever he gets angry with anything I said. And at first, I didn't know that all this is I was English educated, so I should have, but I wasn't aware. I just accepted it. So he was born in Indonesia, but we met in Brisbane. When our first son was 10 months, he moved back to Jakarta as his dad decided to go back and start a new business there. So he went back there to help him. So, and he knows that I would not be able to adjust life straight away to Indonesia. It's very different between Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia. So with my first son, I settled initially in Singapore for 1 year, working as a medical technologist in a prestigious hospital there. And he would come and visit us every month for about a week. But life was, not always as you plan. And I couldn't handle. It felt like a single mom, even though I wasn't. And so we moved to Jakarta. So this is someone who was in a working class in Brisbane. When he moved to Jakarta, he was like the successor of his dad. They are not very, very wealthy, but they are quite well off. So he changed. He could have anything that he wants. He have allowance. And his parents also encourage him of his behavior. He initially and his family had this idea of me. So he had wanted a trophy wife because as a working medical scientist, they considered it quite high up and they are quite proud of that. But when I moved to Jakarta, they don't consider mother looking after children as important as other occupation. So I would also at this stage point out I have mental illness before, which had been misdiagnosed for decades. So I was misdiagnosed when I was 19 as depression and later anxiety when I started work. And later on, only we find out that I have dissociative disorder. But he did not tell his parents, and so they didn't know. Because I was very unhappy there, I start having regular episodes, right? So I went from being very free in Brisbane, where I can travel anywhere I want. I had my passport taken when I was in Jakarta. They were afraid because I am an expat and I also hold 2 passports, both New Zealand and Australia. They were afraid that I would get kidnapped together with our son. So travel, I need to be escorted everywhere I go. I was basically shut in an apartment with our son. I wasn't allowed to make much friends. Even the maid, I've been told not to talk to her much, and the maid has a son that is similar age with our son, but we also were not. So I was completely alone there, without any family with me. So all these mental episodes occurred, and they were ashamed of me during that time because no one in the family knows except for him until they found out. And soon they wanted to keep hinting, prompting me to go back to come back to Australia. In that time as well, I've discovered that he's always had wandering eyes, even when we were in a relationship, and he had conversations with many women all over Indonesia. Um, one thing I discovered as I lived with his family and his parents was that his dad would also do the same thing to his mom. Whenever he gets angry, he would knock her head. And so I know where the pattern came from. When I discovered about all these other women, I went really, really depressed. And initially, which is IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, had developed into gallstones. At a severe stage, I would not be able to even consume water. I would just keep vomiting, vomiting, vomiting. And in 3 months, I lost 12 kilos. Basically, they wanted to send me back because if I died there in Jakarta, it would be a lot of authorities involved, and they did not want that to happen. It was at that stage also, I was pregnant with our second son. And they wanted to keep both of them there and tell me to come back. And I would not leave until I have both of them. Because I told my previous husband that I do not want our boys to grow up like him in that kind of environment. So on Boxing Day 2008, I flew back here with our two boys. My Indonesian friend was very, very afraid for my safety. My previous father-in-law had even called my dad to make sure that if I am actually coming back for good. And he told him on the phone that he would not guarantee my safety. When I arrived, that trip was very hard for me because I was very ill with gallstones as well, looking after two toddler. My dad, it just broke his heart because when we left, I was really healthy, and when he saw me, I was green and half dead. Within 3 months, arriving in Australia, one of my gallstone got stuck in the hepatic duct, which is linking to the liver, and I developed jaundice. I had 2 emergency operations. The first one, after the first one, the surgeon told me they weren't able to remove that gallstone that was in the duct. So the following day, I had another procedure. After I recovered, I know that I needed to have protection for my boys because I know in Indonesia with corruption, bribery, fraud, it's very common. I had fear that they would send someone to come back here and grab the kids. So quickly, I seek legal aid. We call it Legal Aid Queensland. And straight away, the 2 boys were logged into the airport system. So anyone and linking with their passport, anyone who take them out of the country, it would flag immediately. Fortunately, nothing of that sort happened, but I am so thankful of the Australian government because they really look after women in my situation. And also for we have Medicare here, which provide healthcare, free healthcare for our citizens. If it's not for that, and the bills would have been significant during my stay in hospital and also my surgeries. I was able to continue and started also studying for education because I want to spend time with my boys. All right. And not long after that, I met a wonderful man, and we have two more boys. So now I have four boys, and I'm happily married. I do have to let go a lot of that because I know that entering a new relationship, it is just not fair carrying so much with me. And I wish that everyone who is watching this and in similar situation, please seek help locally in your own area. But the first is speaking out. I wasn't told, I had to be told. I didn't know all this. I was blind and deaf when I was in Jakarta. A mutual friend pulled me aside and told me, you know, he treat you worse than your mate. That sentence changed my life because I didn't know. So yes, I am very grateful and very blessed because I feel that it could have gone on for decades and we would still be in Jakarta living in the. So yes, okay, please take help and know the signs and symptoms. Thank you.
So, Cenly, I just want to say thank you for sharing your story. You know, you are a heroine and most courageous. I see your son because when I listen to your story and to be in a situation like that where your husband, your in laws, even the maid, you can't even have a relationship with anybody that would honor you and give you the love. But what I can imagine is that you connected to your true self, the essence of who you are. Because when we come into the world, we are all the most beautiful, shining soul with the highest purpose and goodness. And when all of these negative, unpleasant situations, life threatening, terrible situations come up, you're a heroine because you remembered the core of your essence of goodness. And that friend, that true friend, said to you those words: you should not be treated like that. So all of us need to remember our highest source, self, our purpose, no matter what is happening around us. And the second thing is we need others. When we are blind because we love the person, we accept, we're unconditional in our love and acceptance, and feel sometimes it's our duty, our responsibility, or whatever it is, or circumstances beyond our control. Financially, we can't break away. Whatever it is, we also need others to just give us the right words, the right message, so that we can remember who we are and our higher purpose. So I want to honor you and thank you. And even though the situation has changed for Cenly, she's taken out of that trauma, the memories are still there. We can see it as she relates it to us and how difficult it was to talk about it. And thank you for sharing, because it brings the light to so many, you know, and domestic violence is generational. And it was wonderful that you had the bravery to also bring your sons from that situation to help them too. And we then need tools, techniques, practices. And I know Cenly has done a lot of wonderful practices. The fact that she comes from a family of traditional Chinese medicine, she knew how to use the very ancient methods of self-healing, energy healing, right? You know, she talked about her gallbladder and the gallstones, and she said she was green. Well, that's traditional Chinese medicine, and they know exactly how to heal, changing that situation. So she comes also using a lot of yoga, different practices. She uses her science-based training, you know, in healing herself. But I also know that Cenly did something that was very, very helpful in healing the deep, deep rooted messages, the trauma that was there, even though the situation had changed. And when you see her face saying, I met a man, I'm happily married, you can see she's happily married. You can feel her energy shift. And she has a full family now, a happy life. The deep rooted messages are sometimes there without our knowledge, like a sliver or shard of glass that's stuck. And I know one thing that Cenly has done, and I want to share it with everyone today. She used the message of love, peace, and harmony. I asked Cenly to send us one recording of her love, peace, and harmony. And what she sent to us was, she played it on the recorder, she played it on the violin, she played it on her electric piano, she sang it. She also used other positive messages of God's light, shining so light, universal light, and her four power techniques to change messages within us. So she used a lot of practices, not only to remove the deep, bury rooted negative messages, but she also then is bringing the light for others. So I'd like to share with you one of her recordings that she uses an ancient musical instrument from China called the guzheng, and she plays love, peace, and harmony. So I'm going to share my screen at this time. And let me see if I can find it. I'm here. Okay, so that's not it. Let me try. And maybe while I'm getting this sharing, Sarah, would you share some of our comments to Cenly's talk, and I'll go ahead and do
Thank you.
the
Yes,
sharing.
thank you, Diane. And thank you, Cenly, for your courage and your beautiful heart. It just shines through. And I think all of us here who are mothers with children can appreciate that that was probably one of the driving forces for you. We're often much more willing to do for ourselves what we wouldn't have for our children. So your children's lives were saved, very much so too. And thank you to everyone who is making comments here. People are very touched. Just trying to find the name. Is Sylvie. Thank you for sharing, dear Cenly. It was really hard to talk about something like this. You are much stronger than you think. And you know, there just are many layers of the way that abuse can happen. So Joanne Herring says, thank you, Cenly, for sharing a very difficult time in your life and allowing others to know that there is hope. You're a true hero. Tasha Springford, Cenly, dear, thank you for sharing so that we can learn from your strength. And Gloria Kovacevic says, heaven was taking care of you. Thank you so much for sharing and for having the courage to get out. And then 3 hearts there. Huma Aslam sends her love. Love you, Cenly. Thank you for your bravery. And Gloria also comments that she didn't recognize that she was a victim of family violence until she was in her 60s. And I think this probably is true of many women that simply can't see it the way Cenly needed to be told by a good friend. And so we often get stuck. Love, peace, and harmony, says Kiru. To dearest Cenly, you are an inspirational, beautiful soul.
And I apologize for whatever reason that YouTube of Cenly playing her Gujin disappeared from my um, computer. I don't know where it went to, so I apologize. I can't share it. But I would like us now to experience some of the practices that had helped Cenly not only heal from the domestic violence, in the past, but also to bring the greatest happiness and joy to her life, to have greater expansion of who she is and her beautiful soul. The soul is the essence of who we are, carries the information and message, and kept her heart open. And one of them is a forgiveness practice. You notice that when she spoke about the situation, it was without anger or judgment or resentment. And she has moved to that place of this is how it was. And I can imagine the kind of fear and the worry because the fact that she had a gallbladder or gallstones inflammation means that there was resentment and anger. Not only she carried it, but was directed at her. Because in traditional Chinese medicine, they say that when you are given a lot of anger at you, anger within you, then you develop gallbladder and liver conditions. So one of the things that helped her move forward is a forgiveness practice. So I'd like to ask Sarah if she could please at this time share that forgiveness practice.
Thank you very much, Diane. Yes, one of the golden keys in Master Sha's teaching is forgiveness. And forgiveness, we know, brings inner joy and inner peace. And Cenly has come to that place, as you say, that she can tell the story with such an open heart now. Forgiveness is not a one-time practice. It has many, many layers. It's a gradual practice over time, generally, especially for these kinds of serious things. But it does open our hearts and souls. And so let us now together do a short forgiveness practice. And for each one of you here, I'm sure you've come for a reason, and that you have someone or something in your life that you would like to forgive, to move on with inner joy and inner peace. So please close your eyes and take a moment to connect to your heart. Take a couple of nice long breaths, connect to your heart. And you can follow along silently after me. Dear all the souls that I and my ancestors have ever hurt or harmed in this life or in any of my lifetimes, please forgive me for all the mistakes that we have made. We are deeply, deeply sorry. We understand that in order to be forgiven, it is not enough to simply ask, that we need to go out and help others to bring happiness and health in any way that we can, to help others in humanity. And we are very happy and honored to do this because we understand the pain of being hurt or harmed. And we also forgive you unconditionally and your ancestors for anything that you may have done to us through your thoughts, your words, your actions, anything spoken or unspoken, conscious or unconscious. You owe us nothing. Let us join our hearts and souls together to create more love, peace, and harmony in our relationships, in our lives, in our communities, and especially today for all those people, men and women and children around the world who are suffering because of the hidden violence of domestic violence. I forgive you unconditionally. You forgive me unconditionally. Bring love, peace, and harmony. I forgive you unconditionally. You forgive me unconditionally. Bring love, peace, and harmony. I forgive you unconditionally. You forgive me unconditionally. Bring love, peace, and harmony. And unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness is not always easy to achieve, and that's why we need to continue to do forgiveness practice. The greatest forgiveness is truly unconditional. And that means that we forgive completely without any conditions or expectations. We let go, even if to others and in our own hearts and souls we felt we were right. We let go of any upset, any anger, vengefulness, any feeling of victimization, any sense of injustice or anxiety or fear. Unconditional forgiveness has layers. So be gentle with yourself as you go through the many layers and layers of forgiveness. But it can bring miraculous transformation, as we hear from the story of Cenly. And I'm sure many of you have experienced similar incredible transformations through deep and sincere forgiveness. So thank you, thank you, thank you for the honor of doing this forgiveness practice together as a group in the field. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, for that beautiful forgiveness. And as you said, that it's a process. You know, we have to do it more than just one time. Some of us have to continually do it over and over. And why is that? Because the blockages to forgiving comes in layers. And as we go deeper, the more that we can receive and feel and transform. So thank you for that. And someone had connected with me and said that they're experiencing some issues right now because this sensitive topic does bring up sometimes our own blockages. And what I'd like to do now is to use the message of love, peace, and harmony so that we cleared one maybe layer with the forgiveness practice. And now let's bring in the positive message of love, peace, and harmony at this time and use the song. And we'll do a very short meditation because not only are we healing ourselves, but we can also ask that this message serve others. Serve others that may be going through this, because everyone has a soul and everything has a soul. And even a person may not even watch this recorded session, but is suffering somewhere in the world with domestic violence. And this message then could connect with them at the soul level. So sit up straight, continue to be in that loving space, close your eyes, go inside. Hear the beautiful source song of love, peace, and harmony. Please share the message within us for whatever is happening that needs more love and peace and harmony. And also connect to those that need to hear this message, receive this message. No time and space. Share this message with those. And if you have a special situation that you're dealing with, or you know of someone that is going through something that's very traumatic for them, invite their soul by just setting the intention by calling them. And close your eyes to receive. How. How is a Mandarin term that means perfect, perfect, perfect. So everyone just take a deep breath. Can you feel the love, the peace, the harmony? Some of us may not have experienced this kind of situation, but our hearts are open and we could relate to someone who did. Some of us may have our own traumatic experiences, and it hits a chord within us. And some of us may be a friend, a coworker, even a stranger to someone who is suffering. So I really want to thank Cenly for being the courage to overcome what she has done in her life, with her life, and be the example to help all of us open our hearts and receive new messages of higher enlightenment. Yeah. And I want to thank each one of you because now you are the carriers of love, peace, and harmony. Whether it's to transform your own situation or help someone else transform their, or both. Because when you do both, when you help someone else, you're healing yourself. And when you heal yourself, you're able to help someone else. So it's one and the same. So I really, really thank each one of you for showing up and being present and then taking the message. And it's not over in this 1 hour. There's more to do. I want to thank Sarah for committing because we are going to continue the Heart Talks and to share. And what we're going to offer you after this session is a weekly meditation where you can learn the deeper practices, some of the traditional Chinese medicine that Cenly grew up in her household that probably really saved her life, and some of the science-based practices that traditional science and medicine offer. You know, our teacher is a Western trained doctor, though we never talked about Master Sha. He is a Western trained doctor, a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, and an incredible soul healer of the 21st century. So we'd like to get you to teach you more about our teacher, our practices, and what we do. So we're going to have a weekly meditation on Tuesdays. It will be from 5:30 to 6:30 Eastern Time, 2:30 to 3:30 Pacific Time, 12:30 to 1:30 Hawaiian Time, and 6:30 to 9:30 a.m. Is that correct? Australian Time. Is that correct, Cenly? Because I'm thinking about the daylight saving time. And for other time zones like Europe, you know, and India, we apologize. Turkey, wherever you are, it will be recorded because we'll do it on our Love, Peace, Harmony Foundation Facebook Live. So you can go back to it and watch it over and over again. And each time you participate in this weekly meditation, you're transforming more and more layers of negativity. And if you don't have any negativity, well, bless you. You're increasing the positivity within you. Our next Heart Talk will be on November 20th, and it's International Children's Day. We're going to talk about the wonderful things that are happening with our children around the world and how Love, Peace, and Harmony is creating a virtual school for children. So that would be quite exciting. So watch for the announcements on the Love, Peace, Harmony Foundation Facebook page. We'll also send out a MailChimp, just like we did, and invite you in with Eventbrite. And the main thing is for each of us is to find out what works for us. We have Love, Peace, Harmony singing sessions that happen every day on our Facebook Love, Peace, Harmony movement groups at 12 noon. You can join practice sessions. You can find a book of Dr. and Master Jigong Shah that you might read one word. You can join other sessions, virtual sessions, by going to our website, lovepeaceharmony.org, and see what's happening. You can join any one of our centers. Master Shah has two legs of his service. One is his humanitarian outreach with the Love, Peace, Harmony Foundation, and that's us. And the other leg is his Master Shah Tao centers around the world. And you can find him on his website. Do as much as you can to increase the positivity within you so that you can be the shining light for others. And we thank all of you for joining us today. We love you. We thank you. You can connect with us in the chat box. Sarah has put some of the resources and our contact, our emails. We'd love to hear from you. Also, another thing we'd love to know is, what do you want us to talk about? What do you want to share with us from your heart to our heart, from your soul to our soul? We'd love to hear your ideas. You can connect with us at info@lovepeaceharmony.org. That is our general email where we want to know what moves your heart. Who do you want to help, and how do you want to help? We'd love to invite you to become a volunteer of Love, Peace, Harmony Foundation, because without the volunteers, we have no arms and legs and can't run. So thank you, everyone. I thank Sarah. I thank Cenly. I thank each one of you. And I'm going to leave this Zoom so I can read all of the comments and see how I can connect and help all of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. From our heart to your heart, we feel your love. I hope you felt the love today. So we say bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Gita.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good night.